My brother's girlfriend used my disability to paint me as the crazy one. I just flipped the canvas and let her paint her. My brother, Liam, and I are all that's left. Our parents died when we were teens, leaving us with only each other. So when Liam started dating Chloe, I knew I was the only thing standing between her and total control over his life. From the moment they got serious, her goal was singular: get rid of me. The first time we met, she was a beacon of smiles and warmth. The instant I explained that I have severe autism and mentioned some of my triggers to be mindful of, her smile widened, but its warmth vanished. It was the look of a predator that had just been handed a weapon. She wasted no time sowing the seeds of my supposed instability in Liam's mind. She'd call me "it" under her breath, just loud enough for me to hear. In front of Liam, she'd secretly add things she knew I hated, like coconut shavings, into my green smoothies, then watch with feigned concern as I recoiled from the taste. When I'd insist something was wrong, she'd put on her amateur psychologist face, suggesting to Liam that my sensory issues might be worsening and that perhaps we should look. It only escalated. For Liam's birthday, we went to play mini-golf. On the way to the restroom, she followed me closely. Once we were inside and she'd confirmed it was empty, she took out her phone. The strobe light app she activated was a calculated attack, designed to trigger my photosensitive seizures. I collapsed, my head hitting the tile floor with a sickening thud. She immediately started screaming for help, cradling my head as if she were a savior. When Liam and others rushed in, she tearfully explained that the flickering fluorescent lights must have set it off. For my birthday, she spent weeks grilling Liam about my sensory needs, masking her interrogation as a desire to prevent another accident. She weaponized every piece of information. Tiny, hidden LED bulbs flickered behind furniture. She'd spray a perfume she knew made me nauseous, but only when Liam was out of the room. When we were alone, she'd have multiple low-level sounds playing from different devices, a cacophony designed to overwhelm me. I endured it, foolishly believing it might get better. The incident in their bathroom is what finally broke my silence. I was visiting their apartment, and Liam ran out to the store. I left my phone on the coffee table and went to the bathroom. The moment the door clicked shut, I heard the lock turn from the outside. Chloe turned off the lights, plunging me into pitch darkness. She knew about my severe claustrophobia. For what felt like an eternity, I panicked, crying and begging her to let me out as she stood silently on the other side. It was a full 30 minutes before Liam returned. She unlocked the door, grabbed my arm with a vice grip and hissed, "Tell him, and I'll make this feel like a vacation." She then dragged me out, explaining to Liam that I'd had a sudden, overwhelming panic attack about a book I was reading. The final straw came at Liam's graduation dinner. I accidentally knocked over a glass of water, and Chloe muttered the R slur, just loud enough for me to hear. I was done. I looked Liam dead in the eye and told him exactly what she said. He didn't just disbelieve me, he chuckled. "Come on," he said. "Chloe volunteers with kids on the spectrum. She'd never say that. You must have misheard." Over his shoulder, Chloe's smirk was my declaration of war. I went home that night with cold, perfect clarity. Justice wasn't going to be given to me, I would have to take it. I spent the next month observing her routines, her vanities, her weaknesses, all while practicing my most innocent, harmless expression in the mirror. I remembered a high tolerance for poison ivy from my childhood. Not immunity, but enough that I could handle it with care. During my next visit, Chloe was talking about a new health kick. I offered to make her a superfood smoothie full of spinach, mango, and other healthy greens. Wearing gloves, I carefully blended in a few poison ivy leaves I had gathered from a nearby trail. I made 2 cups from 2 different blenders. I drank mine in front of both of them, then handed her the tainted one. A few hours later, her face and arms were grotesquely swollen with an angry, blistering rash. She shrieked at Liam that I had poisoned her. But having seen me drink what he thought was the exact same smoothie, he just looked at her with a flicker of annoyance, telling her she needed to stop being so paranoid and accusing me of everything. That was the opening salvo. 2 weeks later, at their apartment, I tucked a pair of positive pregnancy tests I'd bought online into the bottom of her bathroom trash can. I knew they had been avoiding pregnancy due to a medical condition of hers, which made the discovery all the more explosive. As predicted, Liam found them. A massive fight ensued. He accused her of cheating. She, in turn, accused me of planting them. He eventually forgave her after a tearful performance on her part, but the trust was fractured. Her immediate and vehement finger-pointing at me made Liam start to seriously question her stability. My final move was at the 15th anniversary memorial dinner for our parents, held at their apartment. Chloe had spent a week preparing, showing off her new manicure and a beautiful, expensive silk cream-colored dress. I brought a bouquet for the memorial table. As I arranged the flowers, I accidentally spilled a small puddle of olive oil on the floor near her chair. Minutes later, she stood to give a toast. Her heel hit the oil, her ankle twisted, and she went down hard. She flailed, trying to grab the table to stop her fall. It was a disastrous mistake. Several of her long nails snapped backward. She lay on the floor, a mess of wine and pain, howling about her fingers. We all rushed to help, and that's when she completely unraveled. Her eyes found mine, and she lunged, screaming, "You did this!" She grabbed a fistful of my hair and slapped me hard. I let myself fall dramatically, clutching my cheek, my eyes wide with shock and fear. That's when Liam finally saw. He surged forward, standing between us. "Chloe, get out! Get out of my house now!" She stared at him, her face contorted with rage. "You're falling for it. Can't you see? Your pathetic, R-worded sister is manipulating you." As Liam's back was to me, shielding me from her, I looked straight into Chloe's eyes. And I smiled. It was the same hollow, predatory smile she had given me the day we met. Her face went from crimson to a deep, blotchy purple. She lunged again, a guttural scream tearing from her throat. Liam had to physically restrain her. Our Aunt Carol and Uncle Mark just stood there, mouths agape. Uncle Mark, after the initial shock, started recording the meltdown on his phone. Chloe was shrieking now, outing all my supposed crimes, the poisoning, the pregnancy tests. Liam, mortified, he returned 10 minutes later, alone and looking utterly broken. He apologized to our family, explaining that Chloe had gone home. The rest of the dinner was The next day, Liam called. He and Chloe had talked. She'd admitted to overreacting, but was adamant I was sabotaging her. He asked me directly, and I denied everything. He said he believed me. He then told me something that chilled me to the bone. Chloe had systematically alienated his previous girlfriend with similar accusations of theft and manipulation until the woman couldn't take it anymore and broke up with him. Chloe had convinced him the ex was the problem. Now he was seeing the same script. With me, her harassment became relentless. She called my graphic design firm, telling my boss I was unstable. She followed me. She showed up at my apartment at 3 a.m., drunk and screaming. Liam, who was now staying with me most nights, had to call the police to get her to leave. He tried to break up with her, but she'd threatened self-harm, trapping him in a cycle of fear and obligation. The breaking point was when she used a key. She still had to enter my apartment. While I was at work, she didn't steal anything. She destroyed everything. My clothes were slashed, my television screen was smashed, and my personal comfort items, things I used to manage my autism, were torn to shreds. She left a note on my bed. That was it. We filed a restraining order, which Liam testified for. She was served at her office, had a public meltdown, and was promptly fired. This loss of control sent her spiraling. She violated the order within days, showing up at Liam's apartment and getting arrested. After her mother bailed her out, she launched a smear campaign, creating a blog filled with lies about me, calling me a, quote, master manipulator who fakes her disability. She showed up at my office building, waving printouts of her blog and screaming in the lobby. She was arrested again. This time, the judge sentenced her to 60 days in jail. The jury found her guilty on all counts: attempted breaking and entering, stalking, harassment, and more. The judge sentenced her to 7 years in prison, with eligibility for parole in 4. Her mother sobbed in the courtroom. Chloe just stared at me, her face a blank mask. As the bailiffs led her away, she mouthed 2 words at me: "Not over." For a long time, those words haunted me. But the years passed. Liam and I worked hard to heal, both individually and together. He is now married to a wonderful woman, Emily, who has become the sister I always deserved. We rebuilt our lives on a foundation of honesty and We heard through the grapevine that Chloe was released after serving 5 years. She never contacted us. The quiet that followed was the truest form of victory. I don't feel proud of the seeds I planted, but I don't regret protecting myself. I fought fire with fire, and in the ashes my brother and I found our way back to each other, stronger than before. She tried to isolate me, to break the one family bond I had left. But in the end, her campaign of terror only forged it into something unbreakable.